Let's start with chapter number 15 from your economics book of grade 12, and the name of the chapter is balance of payment and exchange rate. And let us start from the meaning. This is what is included as per his bifurcated syllabus and the reduced syllabus we are going to study, and I'm going to make this video according to that. So, meaning of balance of payment. The balance of payment of a country is a systematic record of all economic transactions between the residents of one country and residents of the foreign country. Residents of foreign countries during a given period of time. Usually, it is calculated for 1 year. Okay, there are three important points which are needed to be noted down. Those are three important points we have to highlight while we are explaining the balance of payment. So balance of payment refers to the systematic record of all economic transactions of a country with other countries. Economic transactions relate flow of economy, goods, services, and assets. Okay, normally an economic transaction involves a payment and receipt of money in exchange of these flows. Okay, but in some economy may take place between any payments such as gifts from abroad. Such economic flows are the nature of transfer payments. Thus balance of payments records all receipts and all payments of a country with other countries is while arise out of international transaction. Okay, next we are having next point we need to keep in our mind is economic transaction refers in the balance of payment and between residents of a country and residents of other country. The term residents of a country means normal residents of a reporting country. Okay, next we are having point number 3, that is balance of payment is a flow concept. All economic transaction refers in the balance of payment normally have a flow dimension. They refer to certain values of export and import per time period. Balance of payment of a country allows, you can say, refers or always refers to a certain period. Usually in the calendar we calculate it for 1 year only. Thus balance of payment is an account of all the payments made by a country to the other country, all the payments and all the receipts by it from abroad during a particular time period, that is 1 year. So what are the components of the balance of payment? There are various items of the balance of payment and generally categorized into two main groups. One is the current account, one is the capital account. The current account records all international economic transactions related to import and export of goods, services, unilateral transfers, and international income. Thus the balance of current account is the value of export minus the value of import adjusted for international income and net transferred. So current account transactions are of flow nature. Capital account, the capital account records all international income transactions related to change in asset, both financial and physical. It is recorded of short term and long term capital transactions, both private and official. So capital account transactions change the capital stock of the country. They are mostly of stock nature. Okay, next we are having how to measure the disequilibrium of the balance of payment. Okay, then there are a number of steps to calculate it. Number 1 is depreciation. Under the flexible exchange rate system, change in the rate of exchange will automatically adjust the balance of payment. Depreciation of a country's currency will wipe out defects in the balance of payment. Depreciation of a currency means a rise in the price of the foreign currency, or which is the same thing fall in the price of the domestic currency. For instance, if Indian rupee depreciates against the American dollar, it means that the Indian pay more rupees for our dollar. Suppose $1 used to be exchanged for 55 earlier, and now it will be getting exchanged for rupees 60. Okay, in your syllabus, though it is not mentioned in your book, but as per the board indication, this is depreciation, and we have to understand appreciation also. Whenever our value of money is increasing, like before for $1 we were paying 55, now we are paying 60, it is becoming depreciation. And if you are paying less, like before for $1 we were paying 55, and at present for $1 we are paying suppose 40, so that is appreciation for us. Okay, that is appreciation for us. Next, we are having devaluation. Our country can devaluate its currency in relation to foreign currencies to wipe out defects of the balance of payment. This makes import expensive to domestic consumers, and its export cheaper to the foreign countries is if demanded. And if demand and supply elastics are fairly high, a deduction will definitely lead to a fall in the import and a rise in export, and thereby resulting in eliminating or reducing of the balance of payment defect. So here we are finding that the import is expensive. This makes the import, so devaluation means importing from other country is becoming very expensive for the domestic consumers, and export, when we are exporting it, the foreign countries are giving us less amount of money. So again, as per the syllabus, they have included another term, that is revaluation. This is devaluation given in your book, and the revaluation is just the opposite. When we are importing in a very cheap amount or cheap cost, and when we are exporting to the foreign countries, we are earning much more than that. It is becoming expensive. That is a just the opposite of devaluation. We are having the revaluation. Okay, next we are having import control. So imports may be kept in check through the adoption of a wide variety of import control measures, such as quotas and traffics. So quotas limit the volume of imports by applying quantitative restrictions. The government may for example, decline that only 90% of the last year volume of import can be imported this year. Okay, so how much we are going to import, that is getting controlled by the government. Okay, that is a quota they are fixing, 5%, 10%, 20%, 90%. How much are we going to import? Okay, export promotions. The government may pursue various export promotion measures as to stimulate, that means to increase the export. First it may reduce the export duties, that is the tax on the export items the government can reduce so as to encourage exports. Second, they can cash assertion and subsidies can be given on the exporters to stimulate exports. So whenever the foreign countries are coming to take something from us while we are exporting, we can give them certain amount of rebate or discount or subsidy, so that more and more foreign countries come to take the products from us. And thirdly, various facilities like quality control. Okay, then we are having the provision of market information and arranging exhibitions of exportable goods in the foreign countries can and be provided for the export, promote export. Fourth point, and goods meant for export can be exempted from various taxes. Okay, the products which are made for export, so we can exempt, that means we can eliminate or we can reduce the excise duty on those products. Fifth, export oriented industries may be encouraged by providing tax benefits, or you can say finances, raw materials, etc. So the people, those who are producing this kind of product which are going to get exported, those companies must get some special privileges. Sixth, attempts should be made to encourage tourists by attracting foreign tourists, is so that the earning at a large amount of the foreign exchange. What is the exchange control? How to do this? Another important method of correlation of the disequilibrium, I mean the balance of payment, is exchange control or exchange restriction. The government may try to hold complete control over all the dealings of the foreign exchange by directing the exports to sell their foreign exchange earnings to the central bank, and all the importers by buying foreign exchange from the central bank. So foreign exchange is rationed out among the license holders for the specific commodities who only can import these commodities. The sixth point is telling us that the production and of import substitutes. Steps may be taken to encourage the production of import substitutes. This will save the foreign exchange in a short run by replacing the imports by their import substitutes. If the industry is producing import substitutes, develop ultimately because of various incentives provided to these industries. They may turn out to be export earners as well. Monetary policies. A tight monetary policy can be efficiently used to reduce the expenditure and thereby correct the defects of the balance of payment. The central bank can reduce the volume of credit by raising the bank rate, by selling the appropriate securities in the open market, and by raising the cash reserve ratio CRR. If the bank rate is increasing, the commercial banks will increase their lending rates also. As a result, we will find that the borrowers from the bank will decrease and an increase in cash reserve ratio and selling of the government securities as part of the open market operation will reduce the availability of the bank credit. Fiscal policy. So, restrictive fiscal policy can be successively used to wipe out the balance of payment deficit by reducing the total expenditure of the income. The restrictive fiscal policy is characterized by increasing its taxes and decreasing in the government expenditure. Okay, then we are having the capital import or the deficit of the trade balance can be corrected in the short run by borrowing capital from the individuals and government and of other countries, as well as by borrowing from international financial institutes like World Bank, IMF, etc. Countries like India can use the SDR, that is special drawing rights. It's a facility with the IMF to meet deficit of the balance of payment. Next, we are having what is the meaning of, we have to know only the meaning of foreign exchange rate. So, foreign exchange rate, this means that foreign currencies are claims on them in the form of bank deposit, checks, etc. payable in those currencies is known as the foreign exchange. So foreign exchange refers to the foreign currencies. For example, we can take US dollars or the British pounds are the foreign exchange in India. The foreign exchange market is the market where foreign exchange is traded. Okay, you can say that exchange rate refers to the rate at which the currencies of different countries are traded or exchanged in that country. Next, we are having there are two types of foreign, you can say, exchange rate system. One is the flexible and the other is the fixed exchange rate. First, we are going to understand about the fixed exchange rate. In a fixed exchange rate system, the rate of exchange is officially fixed by the central bank of the country by the official action. And in the flexible exchange rate, system, exchange rate is left free to be determined by the foreign exchange market by the forces of demand and supply. So flexible exchange rate can also be said as the floating exchange rate. And floating exchange rate can be of two types. One is the clean floating and managed, or you can say dirty floating. So the system of clean floating is that the central bank stands aside completely and allows the exchange rate to be freely determined in the foreign exchange market, and the central bank does not intervene in this case. And under the managed floating, or you can say dirty floating, central bank intervenes to buy and sell foreign currencies in an attempt to influence the exchange rate. Last, we are having what are the determination and of exchange rate in a free market under the flexible exchange rate system. First is demand of the foreign exchange, that is the dollar. The demand for foreign exchange in a country arises because an importer of this country, he has to acquire foreign an exchange with which to buy foreign goods. Demand for foreign exchange arises in order to import goods and services for domestic residents, to purchase financial assets abroad, to undertake investments abroad, and to send gifts and grants abroad. Okay. Next, we are having the supply of foreign exchange. Supply of foreign exchange arises because of, among other factors, exports of goods for the domestic country to other country. The exporters of goods earn foreign currency which they would like to exchange for the domestic currency. That's it. Hopefully you understood. Thank you.